everyone, it's svgcoop.com with another training video for you. Today we are in Adobe Illustrator and I'm going to show you how to put a pattern inside a shape, and I'm going to show you how to make your own pattern to put inside of a shape very quickly. So first we're going to do is do File, Place, and you can see I have an Illustrator in File open, and it's just set at 12 by 12. And you're going to place the three files from the sample file. I'm just going to click and drag these on here. Doesn't necessarily matter the size. And with the pumpkin selected with the black arrow tool, I'm just going to hit Image Trace and Expand. And then I'm going to select my white arrow tool, click off of the image, and then just click the white areas and delete them. Okay? And now I have my pumpkin, and I'm actually going to hold down the Alt key, get my black arrow tool, hold down the Alt key, and make a duplicate copy of my pumpkin. Alright, I'm just going to zoom out a little here. And the second thing we're going to do is I'm going to select the first pattern, and again I'm going to hold down the Alt key and make a duplicate copy. And with my chevron, I'm going to do the same thing, hold down the Alt key and make a duplicate copy. Okay, now with the first pattern selected, this one right here, I'm going to do an image trace again, and then I'm just going to hit Expand, and with my white arrow tool I'm going to select the white color and I'm going to hit Select, Same, Fill Color, and just hit Delete. Then with the black arrow tool I'm going to select that whole pattern, and I'm going to go to my Pathfinder, hit Union, and then Command 8 or Control 8 on the PC. We're going to do the same thing for the chevron pattern. I'm going to do Image Trace, Expand, white arrow, select off the image, click on the white, do Select, Same, Fill Color, Delete, grab the black arrow tool, select the pattern, again, select the pattern, hit Union, Command or Control 8, so that we now have two files that are ready to go. So the other thing is, then we're going to fill with also a swatch. So you're going to open your swatch palette, which is over here on the right, and I'm just going to click on the pattern and drag it until I get that little plus sign and let go. The same with the chevron pattern, just click it and let go. And you can see it added right here the two patterns. So now when I click on my pumpkin, you want to make sure that your fill is in front of your stroke. And what we're going to do is we're just going to click on the swatch palette of the pattern, and we can see how easily it fits and fills the image. Okay? So then what you would do is you'd want to have an outline of this pumpkin because you don't want to just have the pattern. So I'm going to increase the stroke to about a 10. And I'm going to just make this stroke color black. And what you'd have to do in this instance is you're going to have to turn this image into a JPEG. So I'm going to actually do File, New, and I'm going to go back to this one, and I'm just going to click on this pumpkin, and I'm just going to click and drag it up to my New Image tab and drop it here. And I would do File, Export As, and I'm going to save it as a JPEG. I'm just going to call it Pumpkin Fill. Okay. And I'm going to go back to our original here, and I'm going to now place that image. So I'm going to hit File, Place, grab our Pumpkin Fill, and now I can image trace it, hit Expand, with the white arrow tool, click off of the image, select the white, hit Select, Same, Fill Color, Delete, grab my black arrow tool, select the whole pumpkin, do the Pathfinder, hit Union, Command or Control 8, and now I have an SVG of this pumpkin filled. And you can see it looks like the pieces are separate, so I'm just going to do this again. And this time what I'm going to do is just make sure that the fill is all the exact same color black. I'm going to hit the Union again, Command 8, Okay, so now it's all, looks like it's all one. Okay, so that's how you would do it, number one. If you're going to do the fill with the chevron, again, it's the same thing. Grab the swatch, and you can click on the chevron pattern. Now with the chevron, you can notice that there's like a problem with how this is showing up here. And that's because the chevron pattern is small relative to the pumpkin. So what you can do is, if we click on the one that we did not turn into a compound path, I'm just going to use my shift key and I'm just going to drag and make it bigger. And now I'm going to again drag it onto my swatch palette. When I click on my pumpkin and I click on the larger chevron, you can see that it's getting a little bit better, but it's not really working perfectly. So it's not always the best option. All right, so I'm going to delete that. I'm going to delete our other pattern here. Oops. Sorry. I'm going to delete that one. All right, so I'm going to just put this pumpkin here. Now, move this one out of the way, and we have this other pumpkin. And again, I'm going to make another copy with the Alt key. And this time I'm going to turn my pumpkin orange so I can see it better. Get a nice little orange. And I'm going to drag on the pattern that we were looking at before. But my pattern is behind, so what I need to do is go to Object, get it selected, black arrow tool, Object, Arrange, Bring to Front. Okay, and I'm just going to make sure that my pattern is bigger than my pumpkin. And then I'm going to select with the black arrow tool the pattern and the pumpkin, and I'm going to go to my Pathfinder and hit minus front. And you can see now I have the pattern filling the pumpkin, but I don't have an outline. So when you have your extra pumpkin, again, I'm going to make a duplicate copy. I'm just going to put it on top, and I just want to get that kind of where it belongs. And then I'm going to increase the stroke to, again, about a 10. And that looks pretty good. So, oops, with the pumpkin selected, I'm going to do stroke. I'm going to round it a little bit, make it so it's a little smoother. Then I'm going to do object, path, outline, stroke. Then I'm going to hit union. And I'm going to then do object, arrange, send to back. And let's go back to our layers here. And now I can align these. And I have my pumpkin fill, and I still have an outline and all of that. And what's nice is I have this orange background to it. So the same thing works with the chevron pattern. I'm just going to move this one out of the way. I'm going to hold my pumpkin, hold the Alt key, make another copy. I'm going to change the fill color to, let's go with a little bit darker orange this time. And I'm going to grab the chevron, and I'm going to stretch it to be bigger than the pumpkin. And then I'm going to hit Object, Arrange, Bring to Front. And then select both the pattern and the pumpkin and hit minus front. And again, I get the pattern of the pumpkin, and I can then move the pumpkin over here and do what we did before. Now, what I also want to show you is how to create your own pattern or fill. So you basically can take anything you want and turn it into a pattern. So if I wanted to, I could grab my pen tool. And if I wanted to make my own chevron pattern, I would just start drawing, connecting here these lines like this. And of course you can do it much neater than I'm doing it, so that it's perfect. And what you can do then is make sure you have a no fill and you have your stroke at a fill. I'm going to grab my black arrow tool. With my image selected, I can make my stroke any size I want to. So I can make it 50 if I want to. I can round the edges so it's not so rough. And of course, this spot here is supposed to be over, so I'm just going to move that over there like that. Okay, so now I have this, and I can click on this, my swatch palette open. Go to my swatch palette and drag it onto the swatch palette. And now, if I take my pumpkin, I'm just going to hold the Alt key and make another copy. Take this pumpkin and change the color to, say, yellow this time. And I can fill it with my pattern. So you can make any kind of fill you want to. If I wanted to, I could draw a shape. And I can turn that into, you can see how the fill is automatically set, but I can change the fill to a color. And I can then drag this over to my swatch palette. And now when I click on my pumpkin, I can fill it with circles. So you really can do anything. Any image that you do a trace on can turn into a pattern, anything really. So I'm going to stop there for right now. There's so much more we can do with the patterns. But like I said, if you wanted to then turn this into an SVG, what I would do is take my original pumpkin, I would put it right on top, I would add a stroke to it, again like a 10, object, arrange, send to back, and then I would save this or export it as a JPEG and then do an image trace on that, because it's just the way the patterns work. When you do it the other way, where we turned the pattern into an SVG, like if we click on this, when I had the pattern loaded, I did an image trace on the pattern and then did it. So, you have a couple of options. And again, we're going to do some more videos on this, but I just wanted to give you kind of a quick training on it, and we will be back with some more. All right, thanks for watching, and have some fun experimenting with it. It should be good. All right, take care.